You know, there's this substance in your body that's absolutely essential for life. I mean, it helps build your cells. But get too much of the wrong kind, and it turns into a silent saboteur, literally clogging up your system from the inside out. That substance? It's cholesterol. Today, we're going to figure out which everyday foods might be pushing your levels way into the danger zone.
I want you to think about that for a second. What's that one meal you always crave? The one you turn to when you need a little comfort? Could that very plate of food be quietly working against your heart? It's a tough question for sure, but it's one we really need to answer. So let's pull back the curtain on the connection between what we eat and the health of our arteries.
All right, so before we go and paint cholesterol as this total villain, you've got to know there are two sides to this coin. Inside your body, there's a good guy and a very, very clear bad guy.
Okay, so meet the hero of our story, HDL cholesterol. Think of it like this. It's your body's own personal cleanup crew. It's constantly patrolling your arteries, grabbing all the bad stuff, and hauling it away. But then there's the villain, LDL cholesterol. And when this character isn't kept in check, it starts causing some serious, serious trouble.
So what exactly makes this LDL the bad guy? Well, it's this waxy stuff that just loves to stick around where it really shouldn't. And here's the key thing to get. Your body, it makes all the LDL it needs on its own. The problem is, our modern diet can send its production into overdrive, flooding our system with way more than it can possibly handle.
You might be thinking, a little extra LDL? What's the big deal? But trust me, this waxy substance, it's like a vandal inside your body. Let's take a look at the actual damage it does when it starts to build up.
When this waxy substance increases, it can reduce blood flow. That right there, that's the key. This plaque buildup, it literally hardens and narrows your arteries, which are like the super highways for your blood. It starts creating traffic jams that can starve your heart and your brain of oxygen, and that directly raises the risk of some really catastrophic events.
Let's break this down. Imagine your artery starts out as a perfectly clean, open pipe. Blood is flowing freely. But then LDL starts to get sticky. It clings to the walls, like the first layer of gunk. Over time, that gunk builds and builds into this thick, hard plaque, squeezing the space for blood to get through. This whole dangerous process is called atherosclerosis, and it pushes you toward that final scary stage, a critical blockage, which is a full-blown medical emergency.
Okay, so we know who the bad guy is. We know what it does. The big question is, how do we fight back? Well, the most powerful weapon we have is knowledge. It all comes down to knowing the main sources on our plates.
All right, we've boiled it down to the top 5 food categories that are just notorious for jacking up your bad cholesterol. And you know what? Some of these might actually surprise you.
Kicking off our list, culprit number 1, processed meats. Yeah, we're talking about those super convenient breakfast foods and the grab-and-go options that tend to fill up our fridges.
Yep, we're talking bacon, sausages, hot dogs, even those frozen kebabs you grab for a quick dinner. Basically, if a meat has been salted, cured, or chemically preserved to make it last longer, it falls right into this high-risk category.
And get this, here's a crucial piece of info from the Cleveland Clinic that goes way beyond just cholesterol. The methods they use to preserve these meats, they don't just raise your bad cholesterol, they can actually weaken your body's own immune system. So, it's a real double hit to your health.
All right, next up is a big one. Culprit number 2. And it's one we all kind of know is bad for us, but maybe we don't realize just how bad. Fried food.
And according to Harvard Health, this is where the danger just skyrockets. The deep frying process doesn't just load these foods with fats that raise cholesterol, it also packs in a ton of calories. That makes it a fast track to gaining weight, which is another huge risk factor for heart disease. It's a true double whammy.
Our third culprit is a huge one. It's that whole tempting world of foods that are basically designed to be completely irresistible. Junk food.
So this is everything from chips and nachos to milk chocolate and all those sugary sodas and so-called fruit-flavored drinks. That mix of bad oils, processed flours, and salt? It's not an accident. It's a formula, literally engineered to make you crave more. And that same formula is amazing at raising your bad cholesterol.
Coming in as culprit number 4 is a tricky one, because a lot of people don't immediately connect it with cholesterol. We're talking about sugary foods and desserts.
That's right. Ice cream, cake, pastries, donuts, you name it. We tend to point the finger at fat when we talk about cholesterol, but a diet packed with sugar can be just as bad. Your body actually responds to a sugar overload by turning it into triglycerides and, you guessed it, LDL cholesterol. So that sweet treat is a direct contributor to plaque in your arteries.
And that brings us to our number one, the top cholesterol culprit. It's an entire industry that, let's be honest, often mashes all the other culprits together into one meal: fast food.
You know, that convenience, it comes at a huge biological price. These meals are practically built in a lab to send your bad cholesterol through the roof. They're a cocktail of harmful fats, refined carbs, and sodium, and they create the perfect storm for obesity, heart disease, and diabetes.
Okay, I know. Seeing a list like that can feel, well, a little overwhelming. But listen, this isn't about scaring you. It's about empowering you. Because now you know exactly what to watch out for. You've got the map.
So let's just run through them one more time to lock it in. Our 5 main targets are processed meat, fried food, junk food, sweet foods, and at the top of the list, fast food. Just keeping these 5 in mind, that is the single biggest step you can take to get back in the driver's seat of your health.
And that really brings us to the most important question of all. This isn't about being perfect overnight. It's about making progress. So looking at this list, what is one small, just one tiny change you can make starting today? Because the journey to a healthier heart, it doesn't start tomorrow. It starts with your very next choice.